Good morning, Fred. It's the holidays, and we are trying to answer a couple of questions, maybe give a couple of comments about an article. And we had our first comment about an article from Anthony from Sunrise, Florida. Sent us an article called "Eat Your Greens." It's probably a better way to deal with the CO2 problem. It talks about how going green in your diet will probably be a much better way to decrease the CO2 levels. And it was interesting to read that how the very foods that we eat in the American diet, red meat, pork, and dairy products, and processed snacks, laden with fat and calories, definitely increase the carbon footprint, while moving to a green diet comprised of vegetables and fruits and whole grains lower that CO2 footprint. It's really amazing to read what's out there now. I think the word's really getting out there about going to more of a plant-based diet. Can you give us a couple comments on that, please?
Well, I don't think there's any two ways about that. The latest surveys are showing that more carbon is emitted into the environment and leaving a footprint than automobiles are, which is pretty amazing. So, and it's a double-edged sword. The more greens you eat, the better chance you have of being a healthy person. And there's a direct correlation to too much animal protein and the speeding up of the metabolic process, the aging process, and a better chance of developing disease. We're in a situation now in this country where more and more people are being told that to eat more animal protein rather than less, and it's going to make you stronger and give you your immunity is going to be better off. But my almost 50 years of experience, I found the opposite to be true. In working with probably 25 to 35,000 people, I don't keep a count, but it becomes very evident to me that a plant-based diet for human health is the best way to go. And it's also the best way to go to avoiding emitting too much carbon, CO2 into the atmosphere. Besides that, the amount of grains that are being used to feed the animals, the beef, it's releasing a tremendous amount of methane.
You're right, Fred. The article actually talked about grain-fed cattle belching methane, causing 20 times more potent CO2 gases released, and the article says reducing beef is the first step to a green diet.
Well, methane gas is not a good thing, that's for sure. I mean, it's an explosive gas. It's highly irritating, and people do have methane gas inside them. That's why when my 8-year research of studying the blood gases, the methane gas had become my main focus. It's not something that you want to have a lot inside you. When you're fermenting, people have more methane gas inside them than they realize. Sometimes people think it's like 1%, but in some of the research I've done, and not only with myself, I found that it could be much higher if you're fermenting and you have a lot of flatulence. So this is, it would benefit everybody all the way around if they ate more greens. It would be better for our environment. It would be better for the heritage we're leaving our children with the future of the amount of CO2 and methane we're emitting into our environment. I definitely would say go green.
Yeah, that's right. And at the close of the article they say, any red meat eater switching to a vegetarian diet actually has more CO2 benefit than trading your Camry for your Prius. So kind of funny there on that one, but it's the reality. Let's go green, everybody. Second question was Gene from San Diego. He says, I'm doing smoothies, but I'm a diabetic, so when I take the fruit out, it just doesn't taste so good. You have any suggestions, Fred?
Well, you have to take a look at the rest of your diet here. And it all depends upon what type of a diabetic you are and if you're on insulin or not. If you're a type 2 diabetic, you can use some fruit in your diet. If you use like the Granny Smith apple and a few berries, which are low on the glycemic index, and you put a lot of leafy greens in it, and the rest of your diet is in accordance with a healthy diet, just to add a Granny Smith apple in there and some berries is not going to really have an effect on your blood sugar. In the beginning it's possible, but as your body adjusts to it and your body starts to improve. Now, this is if you're type 2 diabetic. If you're type 1 diabetic, you're on insulin. You have to pay attention to your insulin levels. We have the ability to, with type 2 diabetics, to help them dramatically by lifestyle changes. Remember, I'm not a medical doctor. This is just educational information. But I very rarely, I can't remember one case where somebody was a type 2 diabetic where they followed the lifestyle change correctly, where they didn't, their diabetes didn't go into remission.
Thanks, Fred. Appreciate it. And our last question today was actually Megan, who used to live in Staten Island. I think she lives some other part of the country. But she was talking about how she grew up in Staten Island. Her parents reside there. And, she was getting back to us and said she really liked your gluten-free video advice there. But she talks about how she's had some upsets with her MS. And she says that it's really kind of tough and to look at it from a 100% point of view about going 100% raw. So, she came off a little bit by having a little sugar here and there. So, and she says she's looking to maybe testing her spirituality right now and getting back into it. So, can you give Megan a couple of words of wisdom there, please?
Yeah, no problem. I want people to remember that that the human body is a fantastic biological organism, and it has what I believe to be God-given remedial capabilities. This is not medical advice. Your body has the ability to heal itself. How it heals itself, it's all based on what you leave out. The most important thing when you're trying to heal the body from just about anything is that detox is the most important thing. You should detox your body actually before you start to change your diet. You should go through a detox process. You should start gradually, based on what you leave out. Every single thing you leave out, there's going to be a certain amount of reciprocal improvement in the human body. The all-raw diet is not for everybody. There are people that will try to convince you it's for everybody. It's not. And if you approach this correctly, and you detoxify your body, you create healthy parameters for your lifestyle, and you stay with it, you'll get to a point where your body will start to heal. In the beginning, if you don't detoxify, if you don't leave out certain things and detoxify your body, you will release too much endogenous material, and your condition could be exacerbated. So you have to really know what you're doing. It's not just a question of leaving everything out and going on an all-raw diet, because it doesn't work that way with everybody. It does work that way with some people, but it don't work that way with everybody. In cases like this, I suggest that you stay within your parameters. Use a spiritual approach to keep you on track, because going back and forth when you have some kind of a problem is not a good idea. And you have to gradually get into a lifestyle where you're being consistent in what you're leaving out, and then you consistently grow in the benefits and the discipline it takes to recover. So hang in there, don't get discouraged, stick with what you're doing, try to do better each week, each month, and each year, and eventually you're going to get the results that you're looking for.
Hey Fred, Megan also had a quick common question here about when she goes out and there's no brown rice and she can only eat basmati rice, what's your general common feedback for that?
Well, that's part of the problem. And social ramifications have a lot to do with how we're going to do in this type of a situation. That's why your belief system is so important. Your spiritual beliefs, the thoughts you entertain, they're very, very important, because they keep you on track, even with your genetic expression. So the reason that you do something does not determine the outcome. It's what you actually do that determines the outcome. Everything about the human body is chemical, and everything is action-reaction. If you do the wrong thing, expect the right outcome, unfortunately, it's not going to happen. If you do the right thing, you'll get the right outcome. This has nothing to do with your intellect. It has nothing to do with geography. It has nothing to do with how much money you have. It's all about what you do to get the right action.
Great. Thank you, Fred, very much. Appreciate it. And keep those comments and questions and articles coming. And check us out on the blog, www www.fredbishyforhealth.com.